Today we're looking at stem changing or boot verbs. First, the types of stem changers or the types of boot verbs that we have are E to IE, E to I, O to UE, and O to U. The only O to U verb is jugar. So we use it a lot, but it is the only one that changes in that way. This is good for us because we'll know that anytime we have a stem changer that has an O in the stem, it's going to change to UE. However, with the E to IE and E to I verbs, we just need to memorize how they change. Note, I've also made note here in bold of which E in the stem changes, because verbs like preferir have two E's in the stem, and we just need to know which one changes. So there is some studying involved here to know exactly how we make these changes to the stems. Now, the process of stem changing verbs. We're going to use the same endings for regular AR, ER, and IR verbs. We've already learned those. For AR verbs, o, as, a, amos, ais, an, and for ER, IR verbs, o, es, e, hemos, es, en, but for IR, we have the nosotros form as imos and the vosotros ending as is. However, the thing that's new is that the stem must change in the boot. So when we talk about the boot, we look at our verb chart, and anything in these boxes is considered being in the boot. So nosotros and vosotros are the only ones that are not going to have a stem change because they're outside of the boot. First, we're going to look at pensar. Pensar is an E to IE stem changer that means to think or to plan. So first, I'm going to fill in all of the boxes with what I would normally use as my stem. Remember, if I take off AR, what's left is my stem. So now, I have all of my stems filled in, but I know that in the boot, my stem needs to change from E to IE. So I'm going to do exactly that. Remove this E in the boot only, so we leave nosotros and vosotros alone, and I'm going to change all of those to IE. So instead of my stem being pens, it is now piens. Now I can add my regular AR endings to my stem and have my forms of the verb pensar. Yo pienso, tú piensas, él, ella, and usted piensa, nosotros pensamos, vosotros pensáis, and ellos, ellas, ustedes piensan. In the boot, I changed my stem from E to IE, and outside of the boot, I left the E alone because it's outside of the boot. I do not change it. The next verb we're going to look at is pedir. Pedir changes E to I and means to order or to ask for. So if I regularly have my stem after IR is removed as ped, I know that in the boot, I need to change that E to an I. So in the boot, my stem is ped, and outside of the boot, my stem remains the same, peds. Now I can add my regular IR verb endings to the stem and have all of my forms of the verb pedir. Yo pido, tú pides, él, ella, usted pide, nosotros pedimos, vosotros pedís, and ellos, ellas, ustedes piden. The last example we're going to look at to see how this stem changing process works is the verb poder, which means to be able to or can. So I see that my stem changes O to UE because we have that UE in parentheses. So I'm going to go ahead and put that new stem in the boot. So my new stem is puede, because I've changed that O to UE. Outside of the boot, I keep my regular stem without any changes. Pode. Now I can add my regular ER endings and have all of my forms of the verb poder. Yo puedo, tú puedes, él, ella, usted puede, nosotros podemos, vosotros podéis, and ellos, ellas, ustedes pueden. So again, in my boot, my stem has changed, and outside of the boot, it has not. This is why we call them stem changing or boot verbs, because the stem changes in the boot. Unfortunately, we just need to memorize how, when, and why those stems change.